You should be able to hear me now. All right, well, at least that's fixed. All right, let's just get into it because I was gonna do so much stuff, but I want to just show you guys how to do stuff because but I'm sorry, I wasted too much time. Anyway, okay, there was a bunch of news going on. Who cares? Just catch up on my LinkedIn page, I guess. So one of the things that I had done was I wanted to play around with image enhancers because, like, basically I wanted to show you guys what those are capable of doing. I must have clicked on something that's playing audio right now. Probably Firefly. No, it's just a stupid story. AI threatens blue-collar jobs too. I was basically going to talk about how where AI affects blue-collar jobs and the fact that it's mainly manufacturing, and then I was going to show you guys a quick video from NVIDIA that actually shows basically like how they are essentially helping to streamline this whole thing, right? So you can see, like, basically that in an entire factory, there's just very few people at this point. You can see basically all the visual aspects, right? So in terms of, this is just like a standard identification program, right? This isn't even remotely close to GPT. And so one of the things that you guys need to look at is the fact that they are also assessing the kinematics of the person that's doing the job. Not just the kinematics, but where their eyes are looking, how the tilt is on their head, what their spine is doing, how their shoulders rotate, the way in which their elbows move, and where their hands go. Okay? It's really important to understand that because I'll show you a video after this. Even though you guys can't hear what's going on, basically it's talking about how much money it saves by doing, all of this automation process, right? So you can see like how NVIDIA is helping with the identification of all these products from all different sides, right? And this is the exact same thing that's used if you've ever been inside of a Amazon, like a new Amazon shopping facility, not shopping, but like grocery facility. It's the exact same thing that they use basically to assess the items that are going into your cart. So when you're shopping there and you're watching that, or like if you've shopped at an Amazon grocery, it's pretty sick. Like basically you put it's as easy as it sounds. You put the item in your cart. That's it. You put the item in your cart and you're good to go. And it can determine, and it can basically it understands like both putting an item in the cart and taking the item out of the cart. So it's not like just a one-way thing. Like I tested it when I was in Chicago with my wife, and we were going around checking out like all the new stores and new stuff that they had there, and saw the Amazon shopping grocery store, and it's like we didn't even have to buy groceries, but I was just like, no, we need to go check that out because I've heard so much about it. And the speed with which it identifies the objects and everything, it's one of those like good job stealing or like good luck stealing something, because it can really just pick it up that quickly. So I thought that was pretty cool. Getting back to this really quick, what I wanted to show you and why it was so important that like they were looking at the kinematics of the person doing the job is because it's the same sort of motion that goes into Atlas, right? So this is an Atlas test, basically, just to show what Atlas is currently capable of, right? So this guy forgot his tools. That's what he's saying. And so he goes and hits a command, I'm sure, to have Atlas bring something to him. This is where we're at. This is an actual, you're not watching, this isn't CGI. You're not watching CGI right now. This is an actual robot. Okay? Now, Atlas used to be like hooked up to a bunch of different cables for battery power and all that kind of stuff. Now it's, obviously cable free. It's hustling, right? It's not just moving around, it's doing some serious hustling. Now, imagine that, okay? Like, think about here's one thing to take into consideration. We're talking about like where artificial intelligence is. I heard somebody recently on a roundtable discussion say that they didn't think that AGI was possible until it was like brains mixed with the physical, right? Well, you tell me that this isn't brains mixed with the physical. Nobody like there's the eyes, right? Nobody instructed this thing on how high up this guy is, where he's at, like what this whole thing looks like, spatial relationship and all that. Yet Atlas is able to quickly go grab the tools, come over here, and without so much, he didn't even have to look. It's a no look toss. Right? There, I'm not even gonna lie. If a human had attempted that, they might have missed. That's something to like take into consideration, is the accuracy with which it happened. So now he's got to get down. They've obviously like, it's obviously a demo, right? Almost flawless land. Almost a flawless landing. Okay, so in terms of like how people move around and locomotive function and all that kind of thing, I thought that it was very, very cool. If you haven't checked out what Atlas is capable of, you really should, because I mean, it's honestly really shocking. But what I want to see is like, I wish they could show the after of like, okay, does it actually get it? And I'm really sure like it can pick itself back up. I want this. I want this so badly. I wanted this when I went to inbound the first time, and I wasn't able to find it, but I want it so badly. If you don't know what this is, just think of Ready Player One. Watch it as it flies up to Atlas. Yeah, that's right. It's like a 2K drone, right? Like a 2K resolution drone that's like that fits in the palm of my hand, right? It's the sickest thing ever. And I don't, of course, DARPA's developing this thing, so I'm sure it's probably the most awesome mini drone out there. He was supposed to do that whole like arm thing, and instead he, threw his hands up like he was about to either like he's won or like he was about to do another flip or something. So like not, obviously like not perfect every time, must be, has to be programmed in order to do what it's doing, right? So this is like a training session where it did parkour. And you can see like that they developed the robot after like pretty much after a human, right? It's got to make the same human motions, but the baller hips that he's got going on, right, and the shoulders, like the way, like just the I don't know, like the titanium, I mean, it's the same like sort of ball joint, but obviously smaller, obviously specifically made to rotate in way greater than the amount of degree that we have. So all right, so that's Atlas. That's how humans move around in order to sort of take over blue collar jobs when it comes to warehouse work, right? So it's not just the fact that they're going to replace like the whole aspect of a warehouse, but it's also going to be like the human aspect within that warehouse, right? Because I'm not entirely sure, except for being nice to humans, I'm not entirely sure why there was a job for that guy who was picking up the package, turning around and putting it down. But I'm really, really, really sure that you guys can put it together. That it's probably not even going to be a person. Like you don't need a person to do that job. You just need a machine to do that job very easily. Just a picker. That's all it is. It's just a picker machine. All right, so let's get into the meat of it. You're an AI background is the like I don't this guy Jacob Roach. I don't want to launch into it too badly, and I haven't read the article yet. I was just about to read it and then post about it because I saw the title and I was like, wow, really? So, to me, I don't know. Again, I don't want to launch into it. Based on the headline, uh, I'm hoping that this is leading into like what's come out in this year, because it's been hefty. Let me just throw that over to the side so I don't forget about it. Um, but it has been a seriously hefty year in terms of AI news. So anybody who is willing to say that like AI news hasn't been big this year, like that, you're just not paying attention. That's the best way that I can explain it for somebody who's that you're just not paying attention. Abdul, what's happening, man? Good to see you. Good to have you here. Um, so, all right, let's dive in. I wanted to show you guys the difference between like Canva Audio and 11 Labs, so that you could see what the difference is in the complexity between the audio designs that go on there. But clearly going to need another week to figure out how to fix my audio to get that to work. So instead, I just wanted to show you guys a couple things with GPT to enhance your day-to-day, either working with clients or just doing your own thing, whichever way you want to look at it. And also wanted to show you guys something that at least I think is extremely useful when it comes to using GPT. And what I mean by that is just data, like how to manipulate data if you don't know how to do this already, essentially. So the first thing I wanted to show you guys was basically, that Canva is trying to take that lower end of what Adobe can't do. So, and it's not so much that Adobe can't do it, it's that, who wants to have this? A picture of my mom, by the way. I was going to use this in a upscale reference, so we'll get to that in seconds. A lot of people don't want to go through the whole, hullabaloo of having to use like every single aspect of Adobe and all the tool sets and like what you're going to do and getting into the nitty gritty of typesets and type forms, except for the fact that, and if you'll notice, I'm using the beta version. Though this feature is available in the live version, I was checking to see if something from Adobe Max was currently available in beta, which is the upscale feature, which it's not. It's unfortunate, but stuff happens. Anyway, so not everybody wants to use the bevy of tools. A lot of people, especially when you're just at the job or you're just trying to get things done, you just want to use the essential stuff that you need. If you're a content creator, you definitely love this whole setup because it's made for content creation. If you're in the office and you do stuff, put a lot of presentations and things together, obviously this is also going to work for you. If you were launching a business, right, this whole system works for you. And I'm not trying to push Canva. I'm just saying, like, this setup, the way that Canva has everything set up in this sense, definitely is made for like content creation and like jump off point people, like people who are just starting out. Another thing that I wanted to, I told my wife about this yesterday, and it's not anything that's revolutionary, but realistically, it should be. It should be something that just kind of goes along. When I think about it, yeah, there is something to be said about art. There is something to be said about design. There's something to be said about UX, UI, and how that works and the design of those things. What I also, to me, what's really odd is that there are so many different UI, UXs out there. There are so many different ways to skin that cat. And unfortunately, to me, if you're not using the most effective method, right? So in other words, like this is a great UI setup for Canva, right? And for what it does. Like I don't have a problem with it. I think it works very well. I can go access all my past stuff very quickly, and then I can play with anything new that I want to, right? And everything that I want to know, right, is straight out in front of me. I don't have to, even when it comes to plans and pricing, like even that is already broken down. So I don't have to go to the page to look at the pricing. I can just go to each individual plan that I want to go to. What am I getting at? I'm getting at like, and where did this come from? Yesterday I was using a food app, and the way in which that app worked was just so very, very different from how so many food apps work. And what I've noticed, unfortunately, got a rag on it, Dayton, Ohio, you got a big, big problem with your restaurants using completely different apps. Like every restaurant has its almost catered, customized application that maybe somebody's friend built for them or something like that. That's the way that it feels. And I got to say, that's probably the most annoying thing that I have dealt with so far since moving here, because of the fact that I just want to be able to do something fairly quickly, especially if I'm doing the same category of thing in a different place. So, in other words, if I'm shopping for clothes online, regardless of the brand that I'm shopping with, the way and the UI and the methodology of how I'm doing it should be very, very familiar to me. I shouldn't have to relearn what a new logo looks like. I shouldn't have to relearn where the whole UI setup is. I shouldn't have to do any of that, right? Now, what would be very, very cool, and I'm sure will happen very soon in the future, is sort of like cookie settings to carry your UI preferences for category types across your browser, right? And across sites. And it'll obviously have to be something that, sites program in and all that kind of stuff. It will obviously upset designers in terms of, people being like maybe preferring, one type of site design over their site design, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles, so to speak. What I envision is that no matter what clothing site you go to, no matter what food site you go to, no matter whatever service or business type you go to, that site's navigation sort of morphs into your favorite style of navigation for that category type. To me, that would be sick. It would be very awesome. I think it makes it easy for everyone, especially for elderly people who don't want to have to surf through completely different UIs every time they touch something. Case in point, Adobe Express, right? So this is basically the same as Canva. It's what Adobe's version of Canva looks like. And again, the differences, like it's putting your recent stuff here in order to make room for more feature-based stuff. But you still have like all the same generative AI tools. They're pushing this first. Same thing like when you come to Canva, it's pushing Magic Studio right out the gate. It's not trying to push the old and busted, right? So I think they're both fairly the same. Express has a little bit of catching up to do. It's not quite as close as it needs to be. Some of its tools. These are not as resize is not what you think it is. Resize is not the same as upscale. Let's just put it that way. Upscale is like actually digitally scaling up your image in terms of its resolution and DPI. Resize is doing just that. It's just resizing the video into a different format. It does a fairly decent job. Like basically the point of it is to try to center around what the content is and keep the most important content within the window. That's so if you have a hard time doing that, and especially it's not so much if you have a hard time, it's if you shot, a wide video and you need to change the size of it for TikTok or whatever. Again, you don't want to have to go through Premiere. You don't want to have to go through some heavyweight programs. So your options are either Canva or Adobe Express. So they kind of just put themselves in between. So what's the difference between Express and Firefly? Canva has this stuff baked in. So Adobe needs to sort of work on that. And they have said the same thing. They've said that Firefly elements are going to be available in their other tools. And I think they said something about Express coming to desktop as opposed to having to live on cloud. I don't know what the point of that is. I don't know if it really makes things that much faster. I have no clue. But seems we'll see what it looks like when it gets here. Anyway, so what I mean by Canva has this stuff baked in is, I mean that when you go to design with Canva's new stuff, my gosh, really just get me to the thing. What? Excuse me, we'll just take whatever it's got here. I don't care. Sure, I don't care. Just trying to show this, I don't care. Okay, so Canva's got this stuff baked in where we say try magic design, right? Nope, it's under elements, is it? Yep, generate your own. So it's got the AI generator baked in, so you don't have to work like bother with having to go to a separate app in order to do that, right? Let me see. It doesn't have those straight up. If I go to video, though, it should give me the option. No. Oof, Canva, falling short on that, man. So what I was waiting for is that, you know, just like you have to generate your own, like maybe this is both. Yeah, it is. Okay, good. So that's pretty straightforward. So your image generator and your video generator are all within the same tool. You're not having to go somewhere to do that. Whereas with Express, I believe, let's see, here's our generative stuff, text to image, generative fill, text to template, text effects. So let's go back to, let's say I'm doing a social media thing for YouTube. Where is it? YouTube thumbnail. No, actually, let's do Instagram Reel because it's going to be yeah, let's skip that for now. It's going to be something that that has video, right? It's going to have motion to it. We're going to have both, right? So straight out the gate, right? You've got your the general templated stuff that you can use, but you don't see anything here for like generate your own, right? So that aspect of it isn't quite here yet. Audio is very nice, and but Canva also has the same thing. So let's actually go to a design that's I don't know if it's gonna pull. Yeah, let's just go back and pull a whole new thing here. Go to generate. Let's see, Magic Media. No, it's gonna be video specifically. Magic Write now. See, Magic Write with brand voice. Okay, so you guys are looking at like Jasper, right? Don't get sucked in by these individual tools. Seriously, go shop other tools before you settle on stuff. This thing is $14 a month. Jasper's way more expensive than that. I should have just clicked on pricing, but you know how it is. $39 a month just for the base, right? And that's, of course, if you go by year, which is the only one they want to show you. So if you go by monthly, $50 a month, right? You get the one brand voice. For $14 a month, you can get the same thing out of Canva, right? So why? Why would you spend that extra money? It's so ridiculous. Okay, anyway, Magic Morph, very much the same as text effects, right? Morph some weird thing around your text. Magic Design for presentations. We'd have to go back to Express, but Express has the same stuff. It has like presentation flashy stuff now. Magic Expand, not found on Firefly or Express. Wait, nope, never mind. Generative Fill just got, but I think that's just for, no, it would, yeah, it would. Text to vector is very cool. This is something that just came out very recently, and text to vector you can mix with Canva to do like some really sick animated presentations. So once again, like that's why, you know, second thing I keep telling people, these things are tools in a toolbox, right? And when it comes to them being tools in a toolbox, how do I measure them and what's the weight? GPT is your hammer, right? So like GPT is how you do pretty much every other thing that you want to do. All your general stuff is done through GPT, right? Anything else like specific, if you're specifically doing writing and it's just tons and tons of writing and it has to be done in a particular way, Claude, right? I would use Claude for that. I use GPT for my writing, but that's because I go like to the nth degree in order to get it done. And I want to show you guys what that nth degree looks like because I think it's pretty cool and it's definitely a great technique to use, not only for writing, but for a lot of other things. Okay, so Magic Edit, to be able to remove, not necessarily remove, but you can also change the color of something. You can't change the look of it, but you can change the color of something. And I think it's also part of Magic Generate, so you'd probably also be able to generate, what do you call it? Generate new, gosh, I can't speak, and I don't know why. You'd probably be able to generate new elements to be able to throw in there. So Um, let's see. Magic Animate is very much the same as what we looked at last week with being able to animate elements on the page. Once again, text to vector is going to help you with that because the vector designs, so long as you keep them clean. So like see how this overlaps a little bit of that pink. If you were to try to go to move just this element through Canva, it might select some of that pink background. It might be able to tell because this is so very contrasted. It might be able to pull just the green leaf. It helps if you keep the elements separate, but just the fact that you can, again, text to vector at like just a particular thing, like a thing, let's say. Oh, this isn't out yet. That sucks. Soon. Coming soon. But this is going to be very awesome because you can then generate vector images that you can use in your presentations, slides, like all that kind of stuff. 3D to image. I don't know that that's, I mean, if you know Photoshop, you know that they have, let me see, do I have it pulled up? No, I get Creative Cloud pulled up here. So if you know Photoshop and you know Creative Cloud, then you know that they have some 3D applications that they've started. Dimension is that, wow, that's actually finally in production. All of this stuff, like Dimension used to be down here with the rest of it. But Adobe has been playing around with 3D for a while now. It's been probably since 2015, maybe even earlier than that, 2016. 2015 or like, I don't know, it could be as early as 2013, but I think like it was right pretty soon after Creative Cloud dropped. So anyhow, you could use their 3D in order to change stuff to images. Generative color, pretty cool. A lot of people like using this in terms of just what it sounds like, being able to change the color either out of a drawing or an image or whatever it might be. Text to image, you know what that is. Generative fill, we already know what that is. And text effects, like I said, you basically just type a text and you can apply a texture to it. I don't know that that's, what that's worth. And I'm sure it's amazing for graphic designers and stuff like that. I'm sure it's awesome. Me personally, like I don't know. It's not the most amazing for me, but it's whatever. So the first thing I wanted to do was check out these image upscalers. Oh, and I'm sorry, I never finished Christine's article. So if you guys missed that, here's what that's all about. How to generate dummy data for your HubSpot portal using GPT Plus. Again, just really quickly going through this, but you guys should definitely check out this article. Basically, you're going to enable advanced data analysis for GPT. You're going to use a prompt in order to train it on what it is that you want. And Christine does a really, really great job of going through like what the purpose of this prompt is that you're using, right? Again, like prompt engineering is what you make of it. It's like, if you understand the language, it's not like I haven't taken prompt engineering courses. I've taken prompt engineering courses. Have I walked away with a ton of new knowledge? No. I walk away with maybe like one or two pieces of new knowledge from every course. But I can say that those one or two pieces are pretty like, they're pretty hefty keys for me to unlock other stuff that maybe I hadn't been thinking of before. That all stopped when the data up to 22 was enabled, and especially with web, because of the fact that I can train GPT on how to write prompts, and I can train GPT on all the data that everybody has out there on how to write prompts. So do you need to know how to write a prompt like effectively? Don't know. Don't really think so. This technology is being made and shaped. Look at DALL-E 3. It's being made and shaped to work for you with as little technical knowledge necessary as possible, so that you don't have to know these like very intricate aspects of doing these things, right? That's the whole purpose. Anyway, so as Christine points out, you're going to add the additional import data and guidelines. I've went over this before. If you're specific enough with GPT, you can just select everything on the page, copy and paste it, and you can tell it to stay within the guidelines and say, look, I just need the information about this subject that resides in one whole block on the page, because it's separate from the header, it's separate from the navigation. It's going to live within a body tag, right? So you can definitely tell it how to find the information that you're looking for. Anyhow, so then after you teach it what it is that you're doing, you're going to confirm, you're going to upload your CSV, you're going to ask it to organize the data the way that you need it, and then you're going to go ahead and you're going to ask it to give you an example back of what it's been doing. And the reason, again, you always want to check, it's like check your work. That's basically what you're doing, is you're checking your work. You always want to do this because even though GPT is really, really good at reorganizing data and organizing data, at the same time, it does make, it can make mistakes, or it might format something differently than what you had asked for, depending on what you're trying to do. And this happens with, for me, this happens specifically when it comes to organizing job titles and boiling down job titles. You have to be really like fairly specific to like an engineering degree of explanation. What I mean by that is, if you've ever seen the video, and if you haven't, you should go check it out. If you've ever seen the video of the dad that teaches his kids how to write down engineering directions, or to properly write down directions on how to complete something, it's one of the funniest videos that you'll ever see, but it's so very crucially important when it comes to understanding how to give directions, context and directions, that isn't aware of that, right? Acts as if, and I'll narrate this for you guys because it is a very cool video. Sure, let's go to that page. PB&J dad video. I'm sure that should pull it up. Yep, exactly. Okay, so it's a thing about following instructions properly, right? And so the dad asks the kids to repeat it, like to write the instructions on how to make a PB&J. And when he does this, he actually, it's like they have multiple attempts. They don't have to do it in the first one, right? So it says, get two pieces of bread, get a butter knife, and get some peanut butter. Take one piece of bread and spread it around with the butter knife. So he, does what it says. Takes the butter knife, puts it on the bread, spreads it around the table. And so the kid says, no, you're supposed to do it with the peanut butter. And he's like, I'm just following what the directions say. It says, take one piece of bread, spread it around with the butter knife. It doesn't say spread the peanut butter around on the bread with the butter knife, right? So the next direction is get some jelly, and rub it on the other half of the bread. He says, no, open the jelly. He's like, it doesn't say to open the jelly. It says, put the breads together on top of each other and take a big bite. Right? So, I mean, this is, and again, you guys really should go check out this video. Exact instructions challenge. And I got to tell you, this aspect of it, exact instructions, that's so key and crucial to how you get GPT to work really efficiently for you. So I would definitely, honestly, check out this video. It's such a fun way of learning how to do this, because in the end, right, it does eventually gets to a very close, right, rendition of peanut butter and jelly. And yeah, it's both the son and the daughter that do this, right? And it gets so funny. So take the peanut butter knife and stick it inside the peanut butter jar, right? Without direction on which end to use, right? So again, like it's a really funny but very important video on how to do this kind of stuff. It's almost like that's my how-to video on how to learn how to prompt. Okay, so after having uploaded the data and checking to make sure that everything is all good, then you can actually customize the data, right? And you can actually start to add all of that dummy data that you want. As long as everything is set up properly in the first place and it's got context to understand what it is that it's going to be doing, now let's flood with the context that we've got. So definitely check out that as well, right? Check out the dad video. Jump over to Christine.online and check out her blog. Generate HubSpot dummy data with Chat GPT. Okay, so now that we're done making fun of Jasper as well. And again, like, realize Jasper is based on GPT. It uses GPT-4's engine. So when you ask the question, should I use GPT or Jasper? Should I sign up for one or the other? Should I sign up for Claude or Jasper? Now, Claude through Anthropic, that's a different story. Where, you know, it's a bit of a different engine. But again, Jasper and GPT are on the same exact engine. In fact, GPT is on a better engine, higher level, because of the fact that they get the features before Jasper can incorporate them. Right? It's not like there's some kind of handoff that goes here, right? Like, oh, here's the new CD player. Go ahead and just go put it in the car. No, it's like, here's the new code that you're going to have to weave into what you've already got, which is going to take time, right? So again, GPT is always one step ahead, which is what Altman has been saying for the longest time now. I've got a video that I need to watch that explains what next steps are for them, or what next steps look like for them, and I can't wait to watch that so I can then regurgitate that onto you guys and let you know what the horizon looks like for OpenAI. But Altman has always said that they are always one step ahead, no matter how close you might think the competition is. And you've seen it in the past month. Every time Google's released a feature, OpenAI turns around and releases a feature. It's just they're gonna keep constantly doing it until somebody pokes them enough. And I think Gemini is going to do that, right? I think Google is going to release Gemini, and then GPT is going to release 5. And I'm really sure that 5 is just going to destroy Gemini, or the idea of whatever it was trying to be. Okay. So it's almost like you've got, tools in the toolbox. It's like you've got GPT, which is this, so it's probably your best multi-tool in the toolbox. But if I had to just give it like one operation, it's the hammer, right? It gets stuff done. Then you've got, your screwdrivers in there, like Claude and Midjourney and Dolly. And then you've got all your other micro tools, right? And I always tell people, when it comes to learning this stuff, start with the main things first and then work down to the micro tools. And a lot of the micro tools that you guys are using now that you think have such awesome features are getting baked into these other larger programs. Why? Because they are not going to lose the dollars to the little guys, right? They might do, what they'll do is they'll take the important features of it and bake those in, and they'll leave the other detailed stuff alone because maybe they don't care about that and they don't want to develop that far. But they'll definitely take the major features that people are using those additional softwares for. So give it time. Always give it time. All right, so why am I messing with upscalers? Guys, this image of my mom and some other images from my family in Greece, right? These come from this Fujifilm, right? I don't even know how well you can see that. This is a Fujifilm. This is a FinePix. Don't know how many of you remember that. Fujifilm FinePix camera, and it has I don't know if it shows it on the outside at all. Has a 6-time optical zoom. Oh, there it is. I don't know if you can, how well you can read it. Not very, but if you could, you would see that it says 2 megapixel CCD camera. 2 megapixels. So 2 megapixels, what does that come out to in modern day? That comes out to, whoops, sorry, Mom. I guess I forgot what is the command for that? Alt. It's got Alt in there now. All right. Comes out to 1600 by 1200 resolution at, or 1600 by 1200 pixels at 72 dpi. Not the greatest, right? If we take a look at stuff, you can see these artifacts are pretty nasty. Pretty nasty on the, and it's, when I say pretty nasty, I just mean like the pixel bleed is pretty nasty, right? And you can see that the way in which the highlights happen, not so great. This is messed up paint. That's got nothing. That's got nothing to do with the image quality. And you can all like, I don't think the camera was that well set up, because it looks like there's some haze in there as well. But I just want to see what these upscalers do to something. Now, and this image comes from like 2006 or 2008 or something like that. So I'm not entirely sure how like how well this image is going to come out. Oh yeah, that's right. I'll just pick it up from there. All right. No, we got it from memories. We got it from there, and here it is. Oh wow, let's try doing it that way. I don't think I had an option on the other one, did I? Supports PNG. Okay, so this was upscaling 2x, AI upscaling. So this is normal versus the AI version. Okay. I can't really see. This is what I'm looking for, is like these aspects of it, like how much more defined is it? On the normal upscaling, it's pretty shit, right? And then if you look at the AI upscale, which is on the right, by the way, so the two boxes that I'm looking at on the left over here, over here, the two boxes on the left here, now you can see my mouse, right? So this is where I'm lifting the sample, but you'll see the actual finished sample from the AI upscale over here. Well, let's just stay over here, who cares? Just look left if you want to see the original. And so you can see where even the original upscale still has that grainy, look to it, right? Looks like it's, oh my God, did I somehow? Yeah, okay. Has a grainy look to it. It looks the same as the original, right? And you can see on the AI upscale, it smoothed it out. It basically, and you know, if I had to guess at like what the difference is, it's essentially like it took feathering, right, from like a airbrush in Photoshop. So it just took an airbrush effect, right? Only it was much more like cautious about how it used it. See, like that's actually part of the wall, right? That chip in there is actually part of the wall, and it didn't smooth that out. It left it there. Right? Look at the detail and the cutting and stuff right there. If a person were to do this, I don't think that they would leave those blemishes in there. And I got to tell you, if you've watched, you know what I'm about to say next. If you have watched Tron Legacy, you should know that the devil is in the details, and that what's perfect is imperfection. Right? In other words, when we look at a particular image, especially when we're looking for something that's real, most things that are real, that are done by someone, they don't look so perfectly done. There is some slight imperfection. And it's this akin to saying like that it's a human imperfection that happens. Really nice. It's really nice. Well, let's see. I want to see if it now it left the haze too. While cleaning it up, it left the haze there. That's amazing to me. Can we? Wow, I can just auto upscale to 4x. Okay, so that's supposedly what this one did as well. Didn't actually get it going on this, so let's get that third one in there. Let's do the 4x multiplier. So that's working on it. Oh, I didn't know I had to do a second process there to start it. Wow, that was fast. That's ridiculously fast. Okay, so this is not quite, gotta tell you, if this is like, this is a preview of it, I suppose. This is not quite as good. I mean, if you're shooting for one of these apps and you're shooting for like creating one of these apps, I gotta tell you, this is definitely not the way to show it off. Unless somebody is using like a really, really shitty old picture, like super, super pixelated old picture. So now, same thing. I mean, this is a little bit larger, so I'm going to be able to see some differences, but it's not much. This one was amazing to be able to see that stuff really zoomed in and be able to really see the differences. I can't really see it here, but what I can see is the same smoothing. So you can see the pixelation here, and it's not pixelation like, well, it is sort of. It's pixelation combined with artifacts, right? JPEG artifacts from not being able to, the pixels were so large that they were only able to be a particular color to try to make the overall. Whereas essentially what it's doing is, it's adding more pixels to the image. So it smooths it out. So it's not so much like, so it's sort of a lie to say that it's using an airbrush effect. It kind of resembles an airbrush effect. I don't know why it removed the shadow from this cloth down in the bottom left here. Let's see if there's anything else that changes color-wise. I'm looking specifically at my mom now just to see what changes there. Right here in the zipper and her necklace. So it kind of gives the shine back to the metal. And this is a diamond, so changes her eyes in a bad way. And her face overall. See how it smooths her face to try to make her look younger, right? With like the BS filters. Oh man, look at her skin. Like this is like a BS filter now, right? Because now you're changing her entire look. It should, if there's people in the photo, it should really try to replicate better on like what the person looks like. That's some BS right there, because you're putting that one's even worse. Oh my god. It does the same thing with the metals. Does it do the same thing with that? Yeah, it wants to like automatically improve the color there. All right, let's see what the final, maybe the final looks different or something. Man, this one is taken quite a bit. I don't know if it got stuck or what. Maybe it did. I'm gonna reload. We're at 26. Still got time for the process. Okay. I think we're at 4K on this one. Because otherwise it's download the enhanced quality. Wow, even more? How? Okay, let's try that. Again, like there's, oh, okay. Below 1500. I think this one was like 1600 by something. I thought it was like 15 by... No, it's 16. All right, let's try 14. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I don't want to cheapen it that much, guy. All right, I'm just gonna save over it. I've got the original on the camera. Okay, let's go to, whoops. Well, it's pretty much the same as refreshing the page. Let's go to upload. Of course we reached the limit. Can we kill that and do another one? Nope, so we just screwed that up. Oh, not doing that. Could you stop that? Let's see. There we go. Stop recording. That sucks because I really wanted to test that one more time. That's the wrong page. That sucks. Okay. Well, let me see. Well, I don't want to try it. Yeah. What's the cost? Let's see. Because this one really was the best out of them. Really? Just to find out what the cost is, guys? Please. Please stop doing this. Please. This is so dumb. It's so dumb that you're going to do that, right? Like, even Canva, you don't have to sign up for it in order to find out how much it costs. Why are you putting a paywall in there? I heard someone gave me the worst possible excuse that I could have thought of, which is, oh, we put a paywall there so that we don't get too many people signing up, spam signing up. That's BS. I guess that your spam filters are terrible, right? Like that's basically what that tells me. Or if somebody is really like smash, like I don't know who wants to smash through your server that badly in order to sign up for this thing. And if they're able to do that, or again, your security is bad, you're going to force me to give you my data, and not that I care that much, but like this is really dumb that you're going to blockade me to find like. And here's why I say this: I'm in this business. I'm in this business. I talk to clients day after day about how their forms work, where their forms should be, and what they're supposed to do. Forms on a site are gates. That's what they are anymore. Don't care that it was better than these other ones. The fact that you're like requesting anything from me to tell me how much you cost, it's ridiculous, man. It's really ridiculous. It's so cheap, basically. And it tells me that all you really care about is money, right? Let me see. Look at that. That's what I'm saying. Like how difficult is that, right? Just be honest and open with your pricing. No one's gonna like seriously. I don't know why. I don't know why people blockade pricing. It's really annoying. Let's see. I don't know why that just happened, but it just went off the page. Same here. Look, pricing wide open on top of having a free plan, right? 20 credits a month, so I can actually do more than 3 images. Anyway, image upscaler, you know, that one, let's see. So out of the 3 of them, I love image, not bad, fast, super fast, but in terms of the example that I was able to get out of it, not so great. The fact that it has additional conversion aspects, not bad. You know, or again, balanced against something else. Like you have a lot of these tools. I think actually almost all of them, except for upscale image, right? That is the only one. In fact, let me see. This is the only tool that Canva doesn't have yet, and I'm sure it's going to have it next week, right? If this week rather. So not too worried about that. Image upscaler, pretty good. Again, it sucks that I couldn't get a better means of comparing the 2 images. I would have had to have downloaded them and brought them into Photoshop in both cases. And I think it was in upscale as well, but I really couldn't check to see. So that sucks really bad. Am I even able to back up to where I had an image on the page? No, that sucks too. Took the 3 away, and I can't check on or see anything in the past. I suppose I should have signed up, right? But see, so the sign up and having to do that, obviously, like no big deal with signing up to do that and giving you my information. Doing that just to see pricing is dumb. Oh, well, there you go. I don't know why it went to something else to show me pricing. All right, I do take back the harsh things that I said. Most popular plan. Wow, that's per credit is interesting as opposed to per month. Huh. I'm not so sure, man. That like I'm not gonna go back to talking shit, but yeah, that's weird. That's really weird. And then I gotta buy a hefty amount of credits to make it worthwhile, right? And that assumes that I have tons of images to upscale, which I don't. So I'd actually have to price out how many images that I need to upscale and then look at what I was going to buy. So I guess that's not bad, right? In other words, if you're in the photography business or something and you do this all the time, then yeah, I guess, you know, you got to look at whatever the prices go. If I don't know why you would call this most popular like free forever subscription, pay as you go enterprise. Not sure why you're calling that subscription if it's the same pay model as everybody else, and there's no like I pay monthly for that. Why wouldn't the other ones be recurring as well, friend? Pay as you go. That makes somewhat sense, except the pricing is ridiculous by comparison. That's so ridiculous. I don't like, why is that the case? Because somebody has to auto renew? I don't even understand that. Paying 50 cents more or 40 cents more for that? 30 cents, whatever. I'm terrible at math, guys. I gorilla math all the time. Yeah, I don't know. It is the better of them. I did like the options and I did like the way that it moves around, but I don't know. Pricing's a little, gotta fix that. Okay, so Canva versus Photoshop in terms of generative stuff. Again, when you have to do something with Express, you're going to have to go to Firefly to generate it, and then you're going to have to save it, download it, whatever you do, then bring it back into Express and work on it, as opposed to Canva, where you can just pull out whatever the template is. Let's go social media. We're going to a reel. It's the same thing as TikTok, so it doesn't really matter. And now I can just boom, straight away I can select a video to put together and stitch them together. I can go over to Elements. Is it Elements and then create something? Yep. Go over to Elements and then go over to AI Generator and create a video to put in there, create an image to put as the background, change the different style of it, change the aspect ratio to be portrait. Video, I don't think you can change the aspect ratio yet. And you can see here, powered by Runway, right? So, and I'm really sure it's Gen 2. It looks that good. I don't think you can change the aspect ratio on video yet. I think it's just a 1-to-1 aspect ratio, but you know, better than nothing. So that's about the most, or you know, that's what I could say about it anyhow. All right, so that's image generators, that's art stuff. We did some of the art stuff last week, so I wanted to do more GPT stuff. I wanted to get into this, which is data analyst with spreadsheet maker and a new memory plugin that I haven't tried, Remembertron. And so I'm going to be playing around with that to see how it works against Memory Bank. Memory Bank is very cool and it's very good, but again, like over time, I've finally used it to like a mass extent. And over enough time, it definitely doesn't, like it really can't hold up too well. But I'm going to try this at some point and let you guys know how that works. In the meantime, what I want to show you guys is a nice combination. Let's actually leave Remembertron on, turn off the Sheets aspect. Who else? Somebody else is on, turn off. I want, because I want to see what this data analyst is like by comparison to the advanced data analysis. And then I want to use Apify and not Aaron, but I'm going to try out Browser Pilot at some point. That's supposed to be like a really nice multiple URL browser. But for the time being, doing Apify and Scraper. So why Apify and Scraper? Scraper does what it says. Scrapes content off a website URL. Apify, let's say, scrape Google search results, crawl websites, query web pages found, and browse individual pages. So it's the browse individual pages aspect of it that I need. Yeah, let's just go with that, and I'll try one with Web Pilot after this. Okay, so what is it that I wanted to show you guys? What I wanted to show you, you guys have seen what my custom instructions look like. You've seen how, I don't know why I just did that, but you've seen how all this works and the different ones that I use. This is my social media one for the time being. What do I mean by social media one as opposed to other ones? Or if you plan on it, if you don't plan on it, some of this stuff is really old. This stuff is like newer, and then this stuff is the newest. But sometimes I pull from the old stuff because there were some good ways in which things were written that apply better than what I've got going on now. So anyhow, keep a doc of how you work with GPT. Keep a doc of things that you've done. Keep a doc of like different outputs you've used, different inputs you've got, different personas that you build out, all of that kind of thing. Really, just keep track of it. So what I've got here is, instructions. This was old instructions that I came up with on how to build a LinkedIn bot and then a persona to use with it, right? So it's like it's it was like a 3-step process because you needed the output instructions in there, the input instructions in there, and the persona. So it was like to redo a bot every time was getting tedious. I really didn't want to have to do that. So there's and I created a new one. This one is better. Okay, so this one I only had to use once, basically, input it once, and it does what I need it to do, and it does it without really giving me too much negative feedback or like too much. I call it negative feedback. Too many bad responses that aren't relative to what it is I'm trying to do. The output or the respond aspect of it is essentially tuned so that GPT will continually and constantly ask me, prod me if I want to do something different, apply a different method, see more data about something, check output. That being the case, what I have done in the past is I've used when I have to create code or things that I don't necessarily know how to do. Did I do it this one? No, I didn't. I'll show you with News Anchor Nathan. So whenever I have to do something, actually, I'll just build a new one that I haven't build a bot that hasn't done something before, right? One thing that you guys need to keep in mind, there was a story that that I sort of talked about. Let me see. MIT training method, 80% reduction. Let me see if I can find this. Yep, there it is. So MIT students, I believe, right? Yep, MIT students figured out a method that reduced the training, the energy needed in order to train models by 12 to 15%, right? Of course, it took slightly more time to train, right? But at least it was reduced in resources, right? There was another story that I saw, that's 6 days ago. It's weird because I saw another story that said that it reduced the resources necessary by like 80, or time to train, reduces the amount of time that it takes to train. Let me see. Let's see. No, not new enough. Not new enough. No, this was like back in September. At any rate, learning on the edge, maybe. Training between models on the edge, devices like microcontrollers. I'm not entirely sure, but at any rate, there was a new training technique that had been put out. I think it was either MIT or Harvard, maybe. That basically reduced the amount of time, or like the amount of time and resources needed to train the model by like 80%. I'll find the story again. I know I posted it at some point, but I'll look for it again. At any rate, what it was doing was essentially allowing the model to train on a particular subject, right? But then with a limitation of accuracy on that subject, right? So almost like saying, how much math do you need to know in order to figure out and be able to catch up with more advanced versions, right? So it's like, how much basic arithmetic do you need to know in order to start doing like higher level maths, right? And then how much do you need of that higher level maths to be able to start doing, algebra? How much of that do you need to know before you can start doing physics? All that kind of stuff, right? So it pretty much in that sort of method, and I am seriously bastardizing it, I'm sure, but it's it's similar to that. It's like you only need to know so much in order to be able to then start to move on to the next thing. You don't have to know everything about all of it in order to move on to the next thing, right? In other words, if you know how to use a screwdriver, you pretty much can figure out how to use a flathead, You don't really need a whole lot of training to go from, from the normal screwdriver to a flathead screwdriver, right? If you see a wrench turning, you can kind of figure out how a socket wrench turns as well. Like you understand the mechanics of these things without necessarily having to be taught how to use them. So it's somewhat like that. So it reduces the amount of time that's needed, which also reduces the amount of resources that are needed. And why is this important? Why is this relevant? What I'm trying to get through is that GPT is trained on so much data that when you are asking it to do a specific thing or to perform a specific task, it is looking against all of that data before and trying to pull all of the relevant things together in order to give you the answer. People are talking about specified GPT models and specified natural language models, and why they perform, like especially the medical models, why they perform better than just like a normal GPT or whatever. And it's because those things only care about medical data. And at the same time, if they are only trained on expert medical data, they will not hallucinate because they only know factual medical things, right? So anyhow, going forward with this, we're doing essentially the same thing where we're training GPT on how to do a very specific thing so that we can carry out this task, right? So what is the specific thing? It's conversational writing, okay? And everybody talks about how conversational writing is so difficult with GPT. And every time I hear that, and I hear that, getting writing from GPT is difficult and getting it to sound good is whatever, all that kind of stuff, I don't understand it, because maybe somebody hasn't done something like this yet and they just don't understand how well it can work. So what I'm doing is I'm basically giving GPT links and resources to different, you can see guides on how to write plain language and avoid jargon, guides on how to avoid the top hated business buzzwords, guides on how to place words carefully when it comes to writing natural language, guides on how to use American English slang words, and buzz and jargon phrases that salespeople should avoid, right? Also like plain language guides on using simple language, and conversational writing feels like sentence construction, right? How to achieve the conversational tone in your writing, okay? And so all I'm asking GPT to do is to go ahead and study all the following resources, specifically focusing on the factors that are necessary for conversational writing. I'm going to add in here something, actually, while also remembering to avoid using any of the jargon phrases or words that you learn about. Okay. I want to add that back into this bit. Just came up with this the other day, so it's not anything that's been like tested to the high healths, but let's see where I ended there. Okay, let's go back. So it's using Apify to go check out all the different links. It's probably going to enable Scraper after that. Oh, never mind. Just used Apify to go through everything, right? So it goes and pulls all the information necessary from all the links that I gave it. Then it's going to use Remembertron to remember that stuff. Yes. Okay, so one of my biggest hangups with using Memory Bank was how long it took to remember stuff. And I really absolutely hated the fact that it took forever to remember it. So I'm really glad that Remembertron at least does that faster. Okay, so now it's basically spitting back what it learned, right? Which is totally fine. So it's going to tell me what the key takeaways are for it, which does two things, right? It verifies that it learned what it was supposed to, and at the same time, it also tells me, hey, these are the things that I'm going to be using when it comes to writing. So now I have a really good understanding of what GPT is going to be doing and what it's not going to be doing. Let me know if you'd like to dive deeper into these topics. No, we don't want to do that. Okay, we want to go check out a story, let's say, that's relative to AI. That's maybe a little bit old. We'll see. I'll see if I can even find that. I doubt it, because the yeah. So here's another thing, and I'll answer for people, because I got this comment once, and and it really did. It made me chuckle. This is how I keep up on AI news. Okay, there's 7 more feeds in here. These are the amount of feeds that I have hooked up into Feedly, right? And so every time there is news that's released that's related to one of these feeds, it all gets pulled into my main feed that I then go through and check out what's happening, right? And yeah, it's going to pull, stories that are from, it'll pull similar stories from multiple outlets, right? That's going to happen. But at the same time, it's going to be pretty much everything, whatever it is that's going on. So I don't, because somebody said at one point that I might be honing in too much on, it was when I was posting about the Mickey Mouse generative art thing. And somebody said that I was honing in too much on negative things that were coming out of AI technologies. It's not, folks. I don't hone in on anything. What I do is I hone in on artificial intelligence related stuff. I like to see what MIT is coming up with. Verge writes a lot about AI. I like staying on top of CNET and OpenAI because they do their own releases every once in a while. CNET does a lot of releases for artificial intelligence related stuff, and specifically I like to see where smart home technology is going. DeepMind from Google to keep on top of any releases that they have, all across the board, right? Flipboard for artificial intelligence to see what's going on. Again, like, why the difference, right? I've got 2 different Google searches going on, an AI news outlet that goes on, TechCrunch, because that's usually got at least a handful, 6 or 7 stories coming out every day. And imagine that, 6 or 7 stories coming out every day. New stories every day. Not even joking, guys. New stories every day. That's what I'm seeing, okay? In terms of whether or not there's advancements being made in AI. New, totally different stories every day, okay? Anyhow, so I don't focus on anything in particular that might be negative. I just look at whatever the news is. Okay, so artificial intelligence survey research provides a comprehensive overview of large language models applied to healthcare domain. Okay, all right, cool. What I want to see here is, can you find an article written in the last month to AI advancing the healthcare field that you're able to read and draft? This is really important. This part here. Draft a conversational version of. Okay. Why do I say a conversational version of it? Version might not work. I might have to say, can you rewrite what the article is in a conversational manner? But why do I say it that way as opposed to, so that's the trick there, where Apify goes and it finds the site that it can read, right? Because it can check multiple sites at the same time, and then Scraper goes and gets the data. Why that way? Because of the fact that, like, it's not like Apify can't go and scrape the data. It's that Scraper's way better at it. However, Scraper's limitation is that it can't, and I use Scraper because it's faster. Its limitation is that it can't search multiple pages. So now I've sort of, plugged in this method of it being able to do just that. Rise of artificial intelligence in healthcare. What do you know? And I think it's pretty similar to this, right? Survey provides comprehensive overview. It's similar. It's not exactly the same thing, right? So now it's essentially telling, let's see, here's a conversational summary of what it covers, right? So it's writing a summary, okay? Save the summary in future reference, which you can access here. Don't really care about that. unless you're asked to. Draft a conversational version written in multi. Notice, like, one thing I didn't do is I forgot to greet GPT when we started working together. But notice that I do talk to it nicely. I really do. I try to work with it as if I was working with someone else. Okay, so that's different. Memory Bank doesn't do that. That's very, very cool. Okay, so let's take a look at how this was written, because another thing that I want you guys to learn about is what are AI throwaway lines? Okay, like how can you tell something was written by AI? So, but at the same time, I want you to notice how much of this is very naturally written. So, hey, have you heard about AI? How AI is changing the game in healthcare? Right now, this is close because it's saying changing the game. It really wants to say, like, I can, just because of this, it really wants to use the term game changer here. So it really would have rather said, hey, have you heard about how AI is the next game changer, or is becoming a game changer in healthcare or for healthcare? That's what it really wanted to write, but it nicely wrote changing the game. It's pretty amazing stuff right here, just that it's adding exclamation points. If you ask it to write this, and so I'm sure the first question is, why didn't you ask GPT to write a social post for you? It's the same thing, right? At the end of the day, when I thought about it, it's like, I don't have to ask it to write social posts. I just have to ask it to write content, and then I'll go ahead and format it. It's no big deal. So asking it to just write is really all you got to do. Just ask it to write in a particular method style. Conversational is what gets it as close to being human as possible. In this way that we primed it in the beginning, you can add as many resources to this as you want. Add, like, this was just a sample, right? You can add 15 resources of writing if you want to. It's going to go through them and memorize them and read them, right? And if you want to get, I didn't actually ask it to do this, so I'm glad that it automatically picked it up. The first time that I used this, and maybe because I changed the request here, not entirely sure, but the first time that I used this, it didn't really come out the way that I had expected. It actually spit it out sort of like a social media post style, where it had a lot of the same jargon and a lot of the same BS phrases and uses and all that kind of thing. There are several things to note here. And let me see if I can find an old LinkedIn style. Let's see. So I just want to show you guys like what this stuff used to look like versus what it is now. In the beginning, right, what I did was I would talk to it, ask, give it a little bit of context on what it is we're going to do. Right? Very little context, unfortunately. And so, well, it's happy to help me. And then what I went and grabbed some sample posts that I'd done from a spreadsheet from my export. And so we went through this whole process. But then because we were talking about writing social posts the entire time, it started adding in emojis and started throwing exclamations everywhere. And these are some real giveaways. Okay, so what I did like is that it was putting hashtags where it should be, but that came at a cost. It really did. Like, to get it to consistently do the hashtags in front of words, it comes at a cost, because it starts putting together that it's writing social posts, and then it just starts going slowly but surely sideways. Every single time I've done it. So eventually, one day, I will figure out a method that doesn't do that keeps it on track. Maybe Robotron or Memorytron or whatever will keep that in place, but we'll see. Okay, so reading through this old stuff, right, and like how that works. She's starting the alarm. This is actually an AI thing, right? Speaking to, like, she's doing like a subject is doing this, right? Raising the alarm bells, they're raising the flag, they're throwing their arms up or something like that's, I'm telling you, it's a giveaway. Heard that right, apps like Replica, okay. Here's the kicker, that's definitely an AI thing, almost always does that, copying it anyway. And anything else? Yeah, and get this. So what it's like, the biggest problem it's doing is it's taking bits of how I write things and it's really like just repeating them over and over and over again. So the content, the way the content would come out, required a lot of editing, a lot more than I had wanted it to be. This version of it actually came out really well by comparison to the new one that I built the other day. This one, it's all right, but this is actually really good just for a first time out. Okay, so not too bad. Diagnosis easier. It's like having an extra set of super smart hands on deck. That's not bad, but this whole it's like having, right, that's a thing that it does. That's a writing thing that AI puts in there. But wait, there's more, tends to be part of it as well. And the reason I say this is because if we find it somewhere else in here, no, it isn't. Okay, so nicely it only used it once. Sometimes it'll repeat. Nope, there we go. It's like having an extra set of super smart hands on deck. Notice where it is in the paragraph, right? It's like having a research assistant who never sleeps, right? So that's just something that it repeats, like when you see some repetitive stuff like that. But wait, there's more, right? That's a throwaway giveaway. Like keeping patient data secure. You know, the rest of this is really pretty good. Now you might be wondering, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, like this, it's really nicely, naturally written. So healthcare is all about it, right? So AI should be there to help healthcare pros, not replace them. I mean, I gotta tell you, like that's really good, right? About the only thing that I would change, and that's all I would have to do is just change how it was written, is this line, so that it doesn't echo this one too much, so that somebody doesn't sniff it out. I would basically change this one up, remove that, right? Because I don't need the, but wait, there's more. And honestly, that's about it, really. Change a couple things and I'm done. Again, it's never really it's never copy paste. And you just watched me do the entire process of what I would normally do when it comes to creating posts for LinkedIn and creating posts to put online. This is it. This is the methodology. This is how I do it. I pull in the story, I pull in the summary, and if it's too much, like if I go to the story, right, that it's based on, and there's an insane amount, like, look, there's an insane amount of data there, right? So it's not really that big, right? In terms of like the way that it's written is not that detailed, right? So if I want it to be more detailed, I can say, can you expand on that a little bit? Can you expand on that draft a bit and include some quotes from, just include some quotes. And we'll see if it can. I don't know if there are. I don't know when the last time. No, I do. Probably pre-March. And then I do like sprinkle here and there. Read through, like fully read through the through different articles. Okay, so this is part of the issue, right? Yeah, like this is for me. This isn't part of this thing here, but unfortunately, it's not an article which I would have looked at right ahead. Was like, I just wanted to see if it was going to do it, but if there's no names mentioned in here, don't ask for quotes, right? Because it's going to quote the article, right? Which you just saw it do. So again, per example, I would definitely go forward with this, making a couple different tweaks, and that's good enough, I think. You know, there was a so it's like these are sort of my top top three. Well, I mean, GPT with me, you guys understand why. Um, so this is funny only because you're going to see one of these as the next cover. I was trying to do something here that was going to look kind of cool, but it didn't really come out the way that I'd wanted it to. Though I do want to show you guys really quickly how things came to fruition with the latest cover. And so let me show you how that works. Okay, so it started out here, right? One thing that I want to say, and this is for OpenAI. This is for all of them. It's for, you know what? Let me do this really quick. I want to test to see if Canva does it and if Adobe does it. If they do, there's a serious bias. I really don't care. Let's see, Magic Media. Yep, don't care. Okay, so what I want here is the same prompt that I used in GPT, right? So I'm just going to copy that, paste it here. Can't do the whole thing. Series of rack servers. Kind of need all of that except for this. And we can actually take out that too. Okay, so that's what we're going for. We are going for an anime style, and we're doing it for, it doesn't matter. Just create the image there. Don't know if I can do a video while the image is going. Should be able to lift, there we go. I should be able to lift the prompt as soon as that's finished. Okay. Good. I'll show you guys exactly what it is that I'm getting at here. I'm sure that some of you have put it together, especially right now. I'm really sure that some of you just put together what the problem might be that I'm talking about. Okay? I'm really sure you might have put it together by now. Not so much. Not so much. But I'm really sure that you understand what my problem is. This is from Canva. Okay, so here's Firefly. Again, I'm going to take the same doesn't need to eliminate the same thing. I know it's not the exact same prompt. Let's take it easy. I don't think it needs to be the exact same one. You know what? You know who else I'm going to bring into this fight? I'm going to bring in Leonardo. And I'm going to bring in Microsoft. Yeah, you guys, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'll show you guys exactly what my biggest problem is with image generators right now. Okay. Let's see. Anime. There's an anime style here somewhere. I think Stable Diffusion 2.1. Anime. I don't care about that. Add a negative prompt. No disproportion. No disproportionate figures. This was from last week. If you guys watched the show last week, it was actually really cool. We were looking at the differences between render engines for photorealism, and some of them came out extremely cool. All right, so we're going to generate that. And we're going to come over to Microsoft Designer, and we're going to do the same thing here. Nope. Just want to do an image. Sorry, buddy. Okay, so we're going to try to generate the image here. Let's see what goes on there. We're waiting for this. Okay. Leonardo, let's see. Not bad, but there's something there. I'll explain that in a second. Really good, not so good. Really good. Okay. What in the hell is that? I want you to go away. I want to see. Yeah, I want to see what this is. What in the hell is that? What in the hell is that, Microsoft? My God. That is the worst rendition of a prompt I have ever seen. That's somewhat closer, but holy. Can I go to, can I create something new? Because definitely need to do that. You know what? Maybe I didn't give it a first shake here. Hold on. Let's go to new design. Okay, so here's Firefly. Yeah, don't really care. There is a anime setting in here somewhere, I think. Themes, techniques. Did I pass it up? Probably. Doodle, fresco. No. I don't know. Fax, antique, bokeh, neon. Really? We're gonna steer away from that? There we go. Okay, let's do it on the anime front. The initial chibis came out pretty good. I'm not gonna lie about that. This is weird and seriously disturbing. Like, seriously, I don't know what that is, man. I really don't. Like, you assumed anime to be Asian overall, so it's some Asian black dude that looks like Raiden with the most massive goatee that I've seen. Let's go back to generate image and anime style, right? We'll go with that because it looks like it kind of just went off the rails completely. Who else? Firefly? Okay. Firefly did a good job. I can tell without even having to look into it. Okay. Midjourney has the same issue, so don't get it mixed. Good lord. Did a good job with creating the character. And then one of them, not so bad. It's not so bad. It's bad. Don't get me wrong. Let me see. Try it again. Maybe. Oh my God, Microsoft. What is going on, dude? What is going on? What are you doing? That is so horrific for all of the wrong, like, just, that's horrific. That's probably one of the worst generations I've seen so far. Okay, so what am I getting at? What I'm getting at is that there is an insane amount of bias in the machine, all right? I don't know why. I don't know who put it there. I don't know where they're getting the definitions from. I actually don't even care either. I just want it to go away. The racial bias that's given towards African Americans in image generators is bad. and it needs to get looked at like yesterday. So it's putting earrings on the character due to a hip hop reason, right? A lot of like photos of inner city black people in particular was, is what it is. Rap artists, probably, actually rap artists predominantly wear ice, right? They wear diamonds in their ears. Is that a typical thing of all African Americans? No. So why should the average be that? It shouldn't. It should know better. The engine should know better. Unless you trained it on way too many images of African Americans with diamonds in their ears, right? Come over to Canva. We all know where that comes from. If you don't, you need to look up some history and do some history and really learn about why this is the worst possible image generation of an African American right next to Microsoft's. Right. I can't even give that a break. I don't even know what the hell to make of that. That's the worst. That's the worst I've seen so far. This one's really, really bad. I think it's a toss up between Canva and Microsoft, who's the most racist when it comes to African Americans. Right. Here's Leonardo. Like I said, it was pretty good, right? And then there was like a hint, but this is almost like just the earbud just didn't get connected or something, but it's also like trying to make them into earrings. And then the earring here, obviously, is why I said like, oh, it almost made it, but then it didn't. But again, 2 out of 4 ain't too bad. Microsoft like seriously effed up almost like all of them. All of them. Like every image that got generated was jacked up. Firefly, the first set that we did definitely had a questionable image out of the 4. This one, 4 out of 4 is okay, right? I didn't give it any sort of particular handle for the facial shape or whatever, but oh yeah, and this is using the new image 2. There was the image 1. I'm not doing anything photo relevant, but since this is using image 2, I'm gonna steal some time here because this is gonna be like the last thing that I do for you guys. I wish I could go back to see what that was. Visual intensity, what is that? Just the overall intensity for. Okay, if you don't know what visual intensity is and your definition is to increase the intensity, that doesn't really tell me what you're increasing. The existing visual characteristics. What you know what I mean? Like you're gonna have to mess around with that and see what's going on. Strength of the style as it's applied to the image. Definitely want it to be stronger. Match. Nope. Don't need it to match anything. 3D cinematic. Nope. Sort of cinematic, actually, if we're going to do photo. Well, let's just do straight up photo first. Okay, so the one we did for this was... can I copy that somehow? Yeah. By doing this. Okay, I just want to see what Firefly can do with version 2 for this. I haven't seen the old photo stuff that it did was horrific, so I want to see how it compares. I want to get rid of these things too because it's just whoa, that's not bad. It's really not bad. If you want to see what the comparison is to Canva, let's go with image. Okay, we're going to do photo and square because that's what we're doing for the other ones. Okay, because we use the name of the camera. Shot with a digital camera. Okay, let's do it that way. I do like the fact that Firefly ignored that. let's get past it. It's a brand. You're talking about the brand of the camera being used. You're not talking about like stealing Sony's secrets or something like that. You know what Leonardo looks like, so we don't have to really look at that. What I really like about this and what I'm looking for in particular is how this water matches up to what's going on in the scene, right? The pool water is generally really good. Obviously the person's face too and what they look like, but the effect, right? So like this doesn't make any sense because they're underwater here and it looks all right. This doesn't look normal. That obviously doesn't look normal. That looks like you're outside of the water, not inside of the water. This one looks all right, except the like her body is massive, and then I'm not sure what her feet are doing, but there's a motorboat going on back there. So this was like the closest with proportion, except that she's missing part of her shoulder. Goggles actually look semi-normal, but they're still looking like she's wearing sunglasses that just happen to have goggle vision in them. And then the kick up, I'm not sure. Could be. I mean, it could be real. It's fairly realistic. This was just the closest we could get, right? Firefly looks really, really good. Not gonna lie. That's a little. This is exaggerated. Like there's no tomorrow. I'm not really sure why he's got so many stretch marks on his neck either, but it's really good. Really good. Not gonna lie. Just for right out of the gate prompting, right, without needing like extra. This is except for like if it weren't for the hair sticking out, this would classify as the best one. Look at that. You even have the warped, the sort of warped zoom or effect of having your arm underwater. That's pretty sick. Let's see what Canva did. Yeah, not really photo content worthy, I don't think. Let's magic switch this to yeah, let's do that. Oh, resize the design, doesn't matter. Did it actually do it? No. So, you know, how does that magic redesign work again? Oh, never mind. I did a 1020. Yep, let's do a square. Sorry, I thought I picked a 16 by 9. Okay. Do you still have? Wow, it didn't keep. So that's part of. Well, no, it does. Hold on. Is it part of uploads? Yep. But just the 2, eh? That sucks. Photoshop keeps all of your generated stuff. Oh, that's kind of a thing to try out. I said I wasn't going to take any more time, and then I did. Generative fill with that. Let's see what it comes up with. This should pull out 4 different images of swimmers. This one's not too bad. It's fairly realistic. It's a little bit too close. I don't think that we would use that necessarily. Images, did you get all 4 of them? No. This one, I don't think so. Just the eyes are way off. Everything is pretty much way off. The body is all right, and the head, but you know, teeth are completely jacked up. Even the edge here is jacked up. So not using that. Wow, Photoshop, what is happening? Okay, so not too great. Really horrific, and really horrific. But I'm not going to Photoshop to generate images, so I don't really care that it's not that great. But that's where I'm going to leave off. Oh, in terms of how this, yeah, that's right. I was supposed to show you guys that, and then I got completely distracted by the racism. So it started out here, right? And then I brought it over to Midjourney. And after that, we used that as a base, and then started building off of that. This was the one that I liked. I liked the background and what was going on there. You're definitely going to see this in a future episode. Once again, Midjourney, not great at leaving that kind of stuff out either. It's actually, I wouldn't say it's it's definitely not the worst of all of them. The worst out of all of them is Dreamlike Art. That is definitely the worst out of all of them. So anyhow, we were able to take this and change it with a little bit of modification there, and got these 4 out of it. This one was obviously way too over the top anime because of the way that the teeth are there. But it was definitely the closest to the effect and the style that I wanted, because I wanted to show you guys all about like art stuff and what's going on this week. So I think this actually ended up being the cover, I want to say. Yeah, because I didn't go with any of these, even though these were really good. And I probably should have gone with that one. Turns out that Snaggletooth did make it in there, didn't it? Let me see. Yeah, Snaggles made it in there for sure. Well, it is super anime-ish, so anyway. So yeah, that's how that worked out, right? So the dolly image was close to what I wanted, but not really. So I kind of brought it in and was able to change like what was going on around it, because like rack servers didn't work, but array of computers started to work, and then like array of screens worked a lot better. And then it was just spinning and balancing paint palettes in front of an array of screens. You know, that wasn't necessarily happening here, but the spinning of palettes, right, and them looking like screens, that interpretation of it pretty much gave me really close to what I was looking for. It's not exact, but it's way, way, way closer than this. Okay. So just an example of like taking one basic thing, pulling it into a more detailed program, and finishing it up and making it more like close to what you want. At the very region, I didn't bother going with that, but you could definitely use that to select the face and then change, or just select the mouth and change that aspect of it however you want to do it. But that's going to do it for this week, guys. I'm over time. I promise I will fix the audio for next time, so we can look at 11 Labs and Canva audio and see what that stuff's like by comparison to other tools. But for now, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully you guys definitely got something out of the conversational writer. Like I said, you can use this for just about any technique that you really want to go with. It's just a matter of finding the resources. That's really the hardest part about using this prompt, is just finding the best resources to use. And then once you've done that, again, using plugins, and I highly suggest Apify and Scraper. But using plugins, then you're just able to go and pull every piece of data that you need and reformat it in whatever way that you need to. And you can always ask it, like when it's writing drafts, to include the link as well, to like do any number of things. And even with this one being as like complete as it is, and pretty much almost what I want, I'm sure you can just tell it to memorize this as the default template or default reference for writing, and then to reference this anytime it goes to create a draft for you. So that's going to do it for this week, guys. If you have any questions about anything that I've gone over here, feel free to message me. I'm always open to giving out advice. I'm always open to helping people build bots and for specific purposes and specific reasons. So don't be afraid to hit me up. If you have a use case that you don't think that GPT can help you with, tap me on the shoulder. I guarantee you I will be able to get GPT to help you out with that specific use case. All right. Until then, thank you guys for coming along to GPT with me. See you next week.